And so I sat with it and I was just like, privilege is a shield.
I feel like people can feel the innate power and just the divinity of Black people,
the intensity,
Black women specifically.
Yeah.
And they don't know how their insecurities rub up against it. So that fear creates hatred and all kinds of
it's inadequacy.
reactions. Yeah.
And I think there's a difference between conceptually knowing something and embodied knowing. Embodied knowing is lived experience.
Yeah.
You know, like even with me teaching Akara, I'm doing that in the process of me still becoming as well.
Yeah.
You know, and so like there are things that I go through, and even in these last couple of weeks how I've been showing up to class, I just love it. I did not feel like I was seen in any of those situations, and I felt like I went against myself and I betrayed myself. And it took me a minute to realize that the betrayal, that the reason why these situations keep coming up, because you still ain't took accountability for the shit that you saw. Because I'm a medium. Let me tell you something about my ancestors. They'll put it in my dream.
Yeah,
I don't even got to go too far.
The way we ignore red flags when we want to.
And I will forever be my own best friend.
Right.
You know, it's good to have best friends outside of myself, but I am my own best friend first, because I believe, or what Spirit told me, is 90% comes from you, 10% other people. And so I follow that in everything that I do.
Yeah. But you said something in a class a few weeks ago that really messed me up in the best way, that you heard from your guys.
Yeah. My guys just be beating me up, Chad. But this voice comes through, which I think it was Lilith. But this voice comes through and she says, you don't have a relationship problem. You have a self-respect problem. If you have self-respect, you no longer have a problem. And so I was like, damn, you could have held my hand for that one. You know, you stayed too long. And so I sat up and I was like, damn, that kind of sucks to hear. But you're not wrong, sister. Yeah. You're not wrong. Yeah. It was me the entire time. No one could ever pull anything over me because I am an unmovable force.
Spirit had told me a year prior to that, more than that, to stop accepting less than I deserve. And I was like, no, I'm not done playing. Yeah. It was like a situation.
And I think it's okay sometimes to do it for the thrill, do it for the plot. But remember that you are doing it for the thrill and you're doing it for the plot. Yeah. You know, we came here to experience pleasure. Yeah. You know, we came here to experience joy. I don't think we should rob ourselves of any part of the experience. You needed that for you to see like, even this I can walk away from.
Exactly.
That's strength.
I'm like, it had to be this good for me to say, I have to have enough self-respect within myself to say, I love you, but I need to walk away because you're not valuing me.
And I
did that feel good to have him come back and be like,
no,
okay,
no. I wanted him to go away forever. That betrayal took me 11 years to navigate because I wouldn't look at it, and I didn't start looking at it into these last 4 years. And it's seeing the beauty in life and self-love. Yeah. Those two things are so important. If you can't see the beauty in your experience, you cannot see the beauty in yourself, because you are earth in motion. There's no separation between you and earth. Yeah. If you cannot see the beauty in the experience that you have and in the reality that you created as the creator through the choices that you have made, and that's hard to hear, through the choices that every single choice opens up timelines. Yeah. You know? Every choice matters, and that's why you got to be intentional. You can't just be blindly moving through life. You got to make sure your belief systems, you're moving based on your belief system, and your belief systems haven't been programmed into you. Yeah. You know, and I had to release that shit and realize, no, girl, your truth is your truth. It needs no proof. Yeah. You are allowed to say your truth. You're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to be visible in your truth. Yeah. That is what we came here to do. Don't let nobody rob you of that experience. If they don't agree, it's not your job to regulate their emotions before you figure out what you're about to say. It's not your job to control
you don't have to
the impact. Message. Yeah, because we're just trying to regulate somebody else's emotions because we're used to doing that, because we probably had to do that with our parents, you know. Or you're trying to control your impact. You cannot control how somebody receives, because they're always going to be looking through the lens based off of their experiences. Yeah. That is not your job. Your job is to stand in your truth.
I love my life. I love my life. Hi. I didn't know I was going to talk about this. I didn't know I was going to talk about this today. Oh my God. Okay. The energy right now is, I can do this. I'm a big girl. I can do this. Maybe this would do better with like a co-host or conversation. With my whole life is a prayer. You know when something is just like so fucking wild that like,
what's the best case scenario? Best case scenario, I want to work with Kendrick Lamar one day.
Listen, it's just you and me here. You ready? I'm just gonna be honest, like, that feels like bullshit. That's why I'm able to be so present. We all get to be playful and childlike and dream as big as we can dream. My kids are so cool. I'm just gonna talk about this as if nobody's listening, because the fruit of your life will tell me what's going on in your heart. Okay, I'm ready. Previously on part 1.
And there's shadows and lights to every side.
And so it's just like, there is nothing that is inherently bad here. It's just a matter of how you let something evolve you, how you let something teach you. Because I realized that every single attachment I had was attached to something I was telling myself. So a place where I fragmented, Yeah. And so I started using it as material. Every time a voice would come in my head and it was trying to shame me or whatever, you ain't doing shit. I'll just write down, what is this? What are they trying to shame me about?
Yeah.
My weight, my this, my that. And then that's where I focused my intention on until it became instinct, until I had created a different, now that's gone.
Wow. That explains why you're so like, not just devoted, but you're just so like meticulous about anything that comes up, and you're like, immediately, we need to confront this right now. Journal it, and I'm gonna sit with this until I figure it out and it goes away or whatever it is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think that because I think that too, we don't realize that we're picking up on Earth's hidden stuff too, not just our hidden stuff that we've hidden inside of ourselves. We can walk down the street and pick up on Earth's stuff that hasn't been touched by Earth, because we don't realize our ancestors are anchored into the grid of Earth. And sometimes we're picking up other people's ancestor stuff. Sometimes you can go through to a vintage shop and walk past an urn and pick up somebody's granddaddy. Like it is, we are a part of the spiritual world.
And
there is no separation.
You're probably even more sensitive to that.
Yeah. And I think when you do the healing work, you become more sensitive, because sensitivity is feeling fully.
Yeah.
And when you feel fully and when you can sustain awareness and presence, that's when your gifts, that's when you can perceive, that's really clear perception.
Yeah. It feels like, did you choose this life or did this life choose you?
Right. So I think I got that answer a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah. My team told me I've lived this exact life multiple times. And they said, you love this life. And I said, do I love this life? What do you mean I love this life?
Easy. It's not the easy life.
I know. And they're like, yeah, but you love intensity. And I was like, I had to think about that, because I'm like, do I love intensity? Because
that reminds me of that Kendrick song on his last album, Reincarnated.
Yeah.
Where he's like, but you love war.
Yeah. She was like, you love intensity. And I was like, I sat with that and I was like, oh, I do actually love intensity. And there's like, you love the uncomfortable too. And I'm like, I do actually love those uncomfortable situations. Like I do. And it's like, I was, and so they were saying, this is your redemption arc. This is where you feel it all. Like all of it, I go from dark to light. It's my whole art. It's and we came here to experience the emotional spectrum, or the sound spectrum, which is the emotional spectrum, right? The full emotional spectrum, because once we leave this place, we only feel love. We only feel connected, right? But it's here in separation that we can experience judgment. And
God. Even when you said that, I almost felt like, how boring.
Yeah,
you know exactly. What I mean? Like,
and so she's like, you chose this. You thrive in this shit. It's just the way you're looking at it, and you love this life. And so I was sitting on my porch, and I'm like, in the best apartment I've ever had. I love my apartment so much. I love the rooftop. I love the view. I love, like, I think I have all the things, even with what I do for work and stuff. Like, everything is what a little me couldn't even imagine. This
you deserve it.
And so, thank you. And so I was sitting there, and I looked out at the view, and I just said, yeah, you would. You would, I would. Like, I think that I've always been this person. It's just that this person wasn't allowed to be fully out of the closet.
Yeah.
But this person has always been there. I think what helped me in my journey when it came to my parents and just the people that were playing a big part of my experience is that I've always seen the beauty in them. I've always been able to see the beauty in everybody.
Yeah.
I'm a Taurus, Sun, Mercury, and Venus.
That's your humanity, like your compassion.
Yeah. And so I've always seen the good. And I remember the moment that I realized, the moment I fractured as a kid, I remember I looked around and I said, everybody's doing it wrong. And I was talking about love. I was 4. And I was looking around. I was like, everybody's doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to show them. That's the moment I fragmented, because you don't perform love. You are love. And so I tried to prove love through what I did at that moment. And I sustained that for a very long time, but I ended up being exhausted. But I will say I carried that for a long time. Endurance. The endurance was there, you know, because I can be very obsessed in a good way, or determined.
You have a lot of patience. And I think you talked about that being like how the feminine energy is very slow moving.
Yeah. And it's very patient.
I don't know what it is about me, but I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
But I like admire that, because it's like, you know, whatever you struggle with, you see it in other people, and it's like, that's so cool.
Well, I think that I'm all of it. You know, I think it depends on what day you catch me, because some days I'm moving fucking fast and I got to slow myself down. You know, or I'm moving ahead of the situation because I'm on my own agenda. Yeah. You know, and I got to slow myself down. And so I think that kind of comes through doing the work. And I also really anchored into compassion before I came here. So you might be feeling that, girl. I really do. Because I think, I would say us moving through these Aries energies recently, I've been a little raw, you know, and I get a little scared when I get like that, because I am an intense person. You know, I think people who know great love also know great darkness. Yeah. You know, and I think that I have tried to stop that energy from coming to the top so many times.
To be rage, more digestible.
Yeah. Yeah. To belong.
Yeah. I want, before this, I gave you some notes on questions, and I wanted to touch about a post that you did. I think it was a couple months ago, and you were talking about privilege. Yeah. And that's a good one. Do you want me to? Yeah. Okay.
Hold on, let me take a drink real quick.
Is that okay? Water break. Yeah. I can
go into hibiscus break.
So I'll just let you do it, because I don't want to misinterpret it.
So you're talking about the post where I talked about how privilege acts as a shield, and it allows other people to spiritual bypass. Yes. Okay. So what I was saying in that post, I guess I was in this place of just trying to, I was being stretched. Okay. And so I took on this project for a friend. And she asked me multiple times, and I said no. Because it was like, hey, can you run my social media? And I'm like, oh, I'm not a social media person. It's like, but you have a big social media following. And it's like, yeah, but that's by accident. That's because who I am. It's not because I'm trying to have a platform. It's just what I have to say resonates with a lot of people. Yeah. You know, because it's honest and it's vulnerable. Right. And so she asked me a couple of times, and I'm just like, fine, I'll do this. And at the time I needed the money, to be honest. And so I'm just like, fine, I'll do this. But in the process of doing that, I felt like I kept trying to express how I felt about certain things, because we have a race difference. Okay. And I think
and your friend.
Yeah, me and my friend. She's white, I'm black. Okay. And the client is black. Okay. And so I think that a lot of times white people are able to spiritual bypass, because all of reality is prioritizing their comfort. And to them, trauma is just a detour. It's not something that they have to deal with every single day. It's almost like an inconvenience or a speed bump in their journey. Whereas for black people, it is our everyday reality. It's our everyday environment. And so the person who we were working with did a lot during the Black Lives Matter movement. And now we are helping to build her page, and my friend doesn't want to talk about anything that has to do with trauma. She's just like, no, let's just have fun. And I feel like, you know, using the mind to spiritual bypass as if joy is just like a mindset issue. Yeah. And I was irritated for like 3 weeks, and I couldn't figure out what was irritating me. Yeah. And so I sat with it, and I was just like, privilege is a shield. And not everybody is having the same experience. And so I think that I'm privileged in the way that I get to actually have my autonomy, because the people who came before me couldn't. I'm privileged in texturism and colorism and all of these ways, right? But I think that privilege sometimes allows you to be able to bypass the hard things, the uncomfortable things. And I think that that's what she was trying to do. And I don't think that she meant to do that. Yeah. I know her heart. I know her intention. She genuinely was not intending to do that. However, it made me feel like I was being gaslight gaslit spiritually.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like we don't all have the option to ignore trauma.
We can't all just wake up and say let's have fun when we're being killed in the street. You know what I'm saying? And so that just hasn't been her experience. And so it was just like, oh, you guys, to me, I felt like she was saying you need to get over it. We're gonna have fun with this. You know, we don't need to talk about trauma. And I'm just like, well, that's a part of the Black experience. This is a Black woman who ran a Black media company.
Yeah.
She was a voice for Black people who people were ostracizing.
That's so weird. She didn't want to include that.
Yeah, it's like that was her voice. And so for me, if I'm coming in, because she asked me what I wanted to be, and I said a brand manager, because I think a brand manager protects the integrity of someone's brand. You know, and so I felt like it wasn't honest.
Yeah.
And so I started to like ask myself and question whether or not I needed to be a part of the project, because I think a couple of people told her to pass the project off to someone who is Black. And I didn't think it needed to be that. I think you need to get Black people on the team. You know, I didn't know, because the project kept coming to her for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, so I didn't think it needed to be that extreme, but I do think you need to have Black voices because
representation and understanding.
Yeah, you don't have that experience, so you just don't understand. I think there's a difference between conceptually knowing something and embodied knowing. Embodied knowing is lived experience.
Yeah.
You have not lived it, therefore you do not fully understand. I will never understand what it's like to be a man.
Right.
Because I am not a man.
Right.
And I'm not living as a man. I would damn sure never understand what it's like to be a white man. I kind of want to try that one on for size to see for myself. You know, they get everything.
Really?
You know, I need the riches, the house, the privilege, they get the bump shoulders with the people who making moves just because of their color.
Like, I don't know.
You know,
tell me what it's like.
I wouldn't. No, I definitely wouldn't want to be a white man. But I was just saying, like, they get all the privilege, they get all the benefits.
That's true.
And so they make all the decisions.
Yeah.
You know, like, y'all probably need me up there. But yeah, so I was struggling. And so that was birthed through me being like, what the fuck is wrong with you right now?
Yeah.
Like, this is a great opportunity. Why are you fighting her so much?
Yeah.
And it was because I felt like she was spiritually gaslighting Black people.
I felt that in the post, and you talked about it so like eloquently, and it was just like,
yeah, I have to
you don't shy away from truth. You know what I mean? It's like, it's privilege, and it starts here. Obviously, the white male is the first, the highest, and then the white woman.
I think the white woman and the Black man are always fighting for second, for sure, because
the woman part,
and then the part, well, I think the white part for the woman, and then the male part for the man,
the privilege part,
the privilege part, and so like. At the top of it is white men who have white privilege and male privilege. And then you have Black men who have male privilege, white women who have white privilege. Yeah. That's why I think there's such a...
I think they fight for the oppressed part, though, if that makes sense. Not like fight for it, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's what they're like, oh no, I'm more, but...
Oh yeah.
Anyways.
Because technically, if we're moving based off of gender, the Black man wins. If we're moving off of race, the white woman wins. And so since they are constantly like moving up and down, I think there's a little competition between them, and so they just join forces.
Yeah.
But I think at the very bottom is Black women.
Yeah.
You know, and so we don't get any privilege. There is no privilege whatsoever.
Yeah. And that's what I loved about the video, was that like it was truth, and so many people avoid it.
Yeah.
Especially in the spiritual space where they have the option to avoid it. You know what I mean?
That's the privilege to avoid it.
And I appreciate it so much, because it's like, I'm a woman.
Yeah.
My parents are from Mexico, so I'm first generation here. Yeah. My first language was Spanish. When I went to kindergarten, I didn't know English yet.
Yeah.
But also I can clearly acknowledge that there's a distinct privilege that I have in comparison to a Black woman.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very palatable to white people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't have an accent.
Yeah.
And so and I've seen the same people treat Black women differently.
Yeah. Cause I also think too, like when we talk about like the spicy Latina versus angry Black woman, the spicy Latina is seen as something desirable. You know,
it's almost like a fetish.
Yeah. It's like fetishized. Whereas if Black women do it, it's just like, oh,
the mad Black woman.
You know, she's just so fucking angry about everything. She's so intimidating. Oh, she needs to be smaller. She needs to be less.
Yeah.
And it's just like, fuck no.
I think that's why like I resonated so much with it, because like in my culture, in my family specifically, it might not be across the board, but like for women, we're taught to be submissive and quiet. And a lot of times that comes up as passive aggression is how you move in your relationships. And like martyrdom, and like you're the person doing all the things. And I had to find expose myself to something else, or it came to me to where I can look at like a Black woman and just see how a Black woman takes up space and uses her voice. And I'm like, I need that as an inspiration to know like what I want to move towards, especially raising girls. Of like, and just like having something to like embody or like see, so that I can like practice in my own right of like, you know what I mean? Taking up my own space and almost like getting permission as a woman of like what that looks like. So I don't know, that just meant a lot to me of like, I appreciate the extra fight that you guys have to go through to fight for just a same neutral level. But like, there's so much beauty in that of like resiliency that comes up from it. You know what I mean?
And I think that that's what gives us our depth. And I think that those higher frequencies like compassion, innocence, grace, those are really high frequencies to reach. But I think that when you have gone so deep, it is easier to reach when you have actually done the fucking work. And we don't get a choice in whether or not we do the work. We are trying to survive. You know?
So like your joy is unadulterated, pure joy because you fought for that. And I think that I made that post because I didn't want to, it wasn't about the person, you know, or the thing. It was more so about like, sometimes people don't realize the privilege that they have. Even me, like, you know, the other day, I almost combed my hair out. And I was just like, I was going through something. Okay. I was going through something. The sister was down bad. And so I'm like, my cycle was coming. So I always get a little crazy right up before that time. And I do have this energy that likes to venture to extremes. And so I almost combed my hair out, and I stopped and I said, wait, what are you doing? You love your hair. Why would you do that? And so I stopped and I said, you have to wait until the emotion pass, because you got to walk it like you're talking. That's what I teach. You got to wait until the emotion pass. And when the emotion passed, I didn't realize how much I benefited from texturism and how much I also felt like that played a part in my worth. Wait, I'm sorry. Does that mean like the texture of your hair?
Yeah, the texture of my hair, because
curly.
Well, because I've always had straight hair.
Okay.
So like I started getting perms when I was 9. So I actually didn't know that my hair was curly until I was 22.
Oh.
Yeah, and so like I'll give you that. But my hair was just permed, just like all of my best friends growing up, moms were hairstylists. And so like my hair would get permed, you know, and then I would just straighten it all the time. And that was like what I did all the way into my sophomore year of college. And then what happened in sophomore year is I turned my hair red like Rihanna, because who didn't want to be the bad gal, right? And so I turned my hair like bright red. It was beautiful. It was so beautiful. But then I was like fixing it in the kitchen. And so my mom's doing my hair one day, and she's like on the phone, and she was like, oh, Taja, your hair is falling out. And I was like, huh? And she's like, your hair is falling out. And she pulls like a clump. And I was like, then wash it out. Why are you so calm? Like right now. And so my hair, it was just like I had a thin little piece at the top. I feel like it wasn't that dramatic, but it felt like it was that dramatic. Like I couldn't put my hair in a full ponytail because it just didn't have the fullness that I was used to it having. And so I started getting sew-ins, and I got sew-ins for about 10 months. And I went to Florida for the first time, and I wanted to see the ocean, you know, because it's my first time going to the ocean. So I get in the ocean, and I'm like deep up in that thing, you know, but it completely ruins my sew-in. And it was like almost about that time anyway. So it kind of just made it hang a little bit more. And I was like, yeah, I'm not getting on a plane like this. And so I took my sew-in out because I was at a track meet. I think I was at like regionals too. It was like a big meet. And so I cut my sew-in out, and like I had the sew-in in I hadn't seen my hair in so long because it had been 10 months of me getting a sew-in. And it's like when you go and get a sew-in, they take it out and then they put it right back in. So I didn't get a chance to. Chair. Yeah, so it's like I didn't get a chance to see what my hair looked like. And so I look in the mirror, and it's like I got these little pieces that are like damaged at the end, but then the top part of my hair is like really curly. Like it was almost like unmistakable. And so I like looked at myself, and I was like, what's going on here? And so my friend was like, oh, I didn't know you had curly hair. And I was like, I didn't either. And she was like, what? And I was like, I genuinely did not know this. And so I called my brother, and he was like, what's happening with your hair? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, wait, when did you start having curly hair? And I was like, I don't know. Like, this just happened to me. Like, genuinely, it just happened. And so I had it cut. And when I had it cut, I went natural. And so I really only have been natural for like the last 11 years or so, or 12 years. But
wait, you didn't know that the perm was straightening your hair?
No, I knew it was straightening my hair, but I didn't know. I thought my texture looked like everybody else's texture. And so the same struggles that I felt like my friends was going through, I was going through, but it was because my hair was perm. My hair's always been long.
Okay.
But it just wasn't, it had no curl to it because it was permed.
Okay.
You know? And so, so I kind of went through that situation and found out. And so, I think people have always complimented me on my hair. People have always complimented me on my smile. People have always complimented me on being tall and, you know, being shapely and all of those things. And so what I'm realizing is that, like, as I go out more with my locks, sometimes, some days I just can't get it right. I just can't get it the way that I want it to look. Yeah. Right. And so I think that I was having this moment where I was just like, you need to comb your hair out because you need your curls back. Like, it was so much easier. You got into a rhythm. It was almost like falling back into an old pattern. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want that. Yeah. Though, like in the part where I was telling you, the spirit was like, you live this life multiple times. I am very meticulous. Right. And so I thought about that and I was like, you know, my skin complexion, people compliment me on my skin complexion all the time. I don't like how light I get, but I do like the color that I get when I get tan. Right. Very specific thing. Yeah. You know, I wouldn't want full dimples. My bad. I wouldn't want full dimples, but I have a dimple on this side and it's really a dent. I ran into a table when I was 4, but that wasn't the plan. I know I put that in there because everybody's always complimenting me on this, but I feel like the only people who really see it are people who are close to me because it does not come through in pictures. It does not come through in like, you have to see me in person to see it. And also like my hair, like I think I have curly texture because I like how it looks in locks, not specifically in locks. Yeah. You know, and so I just was having a moment where I guess I was, I don't know if I was, I don't want to say like a pick me type of energy, but people respond to me differently with my hair and locks. And so I think I just was having a moment because I also like am in this place where I'm figuring out, what I want relationship wise and things, because I think I needed to look at that. You know, because I think that I fragmented in my last 2 situations really, really bad in a way that I was just like, that's never happening again. And that's like a soul vow. And it's just like, I don't want to take that karma into my next life. And so I need to look at that. I need to figure out what the issue is or whatever. And so I just had to come back into my body like, bitch, it don't matter what you look like. You is that girl and that's it. That's you know? Right. And I love my hair, so I would never even comb it. I just was being dramatic. And I just had my year anniversary too, so I think maybe that was just
of your locks. I remember when you got them.
I just had my year anniversary, and so I just was having a moment, girl.
I think it looks great.
Yeah, thank you. I'd be having a moment sometimes, and I'd just be spiraling. Yeah, so I just was like, okay, let's wait until this passes because you're gonna feel different in a couple days. It usually takes about 3 days for an emotion to leave me. So.
I say don't make a decision in the muck. That's what I call it. Of like, because
it's like when the waves are crashing. Please don't make a decision.
Feel it. Do what you got to do to get through it, but don't make any hard decisions.
Because you would not run into the ocean while them waves was crashing. You just wouldn't do it, you know. And so you gotta wait until it steals. And I'm glad that I did. It was just the moment, you know. And I think that I'm a person who needs change often because of the Scorpio moon. Like, I feel like your internal world is always going through this death and rebirth cycle. Not to over identify with that, but that's what I feel like my experience has been. Like, I feel like
energy.
I feel like I've been 30 different people even this year. And, you know, like even with me teaching Akara, I'm doing that in the process of me still becoming as well. Yeah. You know, and so like there are things that I go through, and even in these last couple of weeks, how I've been showing up to class, I just love it because I think I had to stop being aloof. Yeah. I didn't realize I was being aloof and like observing before I show my personality and things like that.
Really? I feel like you're super present.
Yeah, that's what you guys think.
You're like, there's way more.
Actually very good at, I'm very good at doing exactly what needs to be done for people to see. I can
relate to that because there's so much. And it's like, even if you show this much, there's still like,
it's like,
this
it's so much more than that. Yeah.
And so people feel like, oh, we know you.
Yeah, and then they end up like projecting onto me, and I'm just like, yeah, you don't know me at all. But I think that people in relationships too, like people I've been in relationships with, they're always very stunned by me because
like romantic relationships.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like they end up being stunned by me because they have put me in a box, or they've tried to identify me a specific way, and then when something is brought up, I act a completely different way, and it's like, oh, that's not consistent with what I like. They expect you to be the
like,
pattern.
I am multifaceted.
It's just like, baby, I am a lot of things, and I've experienced a lot of life.
There's 100 different rooms here.
Yeah, it just depends on who's there at the time. There's probably about 100 different voices in here. It just depends on who you're talking to, you know.
Are you open to like a relationship now then? So you were like considering like what your hair looked like?
I think I needed to work on my trust issues because I realized that I was choosing unattainable people. And the reason why I was choosing unattainable people is because I didn't think anybody was going to stay anyway. You know, and so like it's the abandonment issue. My dad, there's always been an element of distance in every single relationship I've been in because my dad was in another state. And then there's always been this like, when you're with me, we're having such a great time. Everything is beautiful. Everything is everything. And then when you're gone, nothing. Because that's kind of how it was with my dad. Like hot and cold croquette is what I like to call it, the croquette. It's always that type of energy. And so I had to figure out what the self-worth issue was inside of me. Because I also think that I had a really, 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 really huge betrayal in a relationship. And then what I did after that was just cling. I didn't let anything break. Like I put my whole weight
to
on
the
somebody.
next person or the same
on
person?
The next person.
Okay.
I put my whole weight on them. But I also never really gave them a chance because we went tit for tat. Anytime they would do something, they wouldn't know that I would do something back because I don't need you to know. I need me to know.
Right.
This is for the little me inside of me that you got fucked up. You know, and so it's like I wasn't completely innocent in that situation. And I also think it was an ego validation situation as well. And so I needed to figure that out because I did not feel like I was seen in any of those situations. And I felt like I went against myself and I betrayed myself. And it took me a minute to realize that the betrayal, that the reason why these situations keep coming up, because you still ain't took accountability for the shit that you saw. Because I'm a medium. Let me tell you something about my ancestors. They'll put it in my dream.
Yeah.
I don't even got to go too far.
The way we ignore red flags when we want to.
Yeah. I don't got to go too far. My ancestors to be like, hey, yeah, so hold on. Let me show you something real quick.
Yeah.
You know, I can't even sleep next to you. I almost want to punch you in your face about your sleep because what my grandmama just told me about you. You know, it's like that. And so I think for a long time, I just was like, no, absolutely not. But how I feel recently, or more recently, is that I just want to be met. I don't care who it comes from. I genuinely don't care who it comes from.
You mean platonic?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't care. Yeah. Like, I think that's more important. I think we put too much pressure in one direction. Yeah. You know, it's like, oh, you have to have this specific relationship. But no, I have relationships that are so full with so many different people of different ages too. Like my friend that I was telling you about, she has a daughter who I love. She's a Taurus and she's so bold and courageous and like, she stands up for what's right within her friend group. And sometimes she'll ask me like, what do you think I should do in this situation? And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I love this little kid so much. She's like 14, but she's just like, and I love people who are in that area too, because that's a transitional area as well. But I just love those moments. And so it's like, she says I'm her spirit animal. That just made me so happy. Because she watched me. I went to like a gathering of minds and I had I think me and one other person were the only people who had a differing opinion. Because there was a religious leader up there speaking and I didn't know what I was walking into. But I still spoke my piece regardless.
And the girl was there?
Yeah, she was there and she watched. And I feel like they were trying to bypass, like the religious leader was literally trying to avoid me at all costs. But I almost didn't speak up after I said a couple things because I realized I wasn't going to be received. And I also think that he thought I was trying to teach his class and I wasn't. I just had some like serious questions. And every time there was a serious question, he just was ducking and dodging. And so we talked for a couple hours after that, just about life. And just anytime we talk, she's just like super interested. And I don't know, it just feels really good, to be seen and acknowledged. And because sometimes I worry if anybody is ever going to be able to hold the full capacity of me, because I'm way more vast than people understand.
Yes.
Like,
I feel that.
Way more vast. I am the ocean. And so I'm fulfilled by a lot of my relationships right now, and so I don't feel like I'm missing anything.
Yeah.
I do like intimacy, but I think you can have intimate relationships outside of that. But I do like intimacy though, and I like feeling like somebody is like truly gets me or truly understands me,
being seen.
Being seen fully. But I don't think it has to be a romantic partner, and so that's where I am right now. And so if it shows up in that form, I'm going to allow it, because I allow all my abundance. I trust that now I will not abandon myself.
Yeah.
And so I think that was the biggest thing, is getting to the point where I know for a fact I will walk away when it's time to walk away. I will speak up when it's time to speak up. And I don't have to have this fear of loss when it comes to other people, because I think I'm more worried about losing myself than I am losing other people.
Right.
And so
that's what self-control will teach you.
Yeah.
Of like, it's never worth it.
And we don't realize that sometimes we're looking for someone to complete somebody. We're looking for relief. Sometimes. And we get that in relationship and community, like somebody who can hold it with us, carry it with us, whatever the case may be. And I don't need relief.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's not as important to me, because I don't need the relief.
Yeah.
I show up for myself consistently every single day. In my good days and my bad days, I am my own best friend. And I will forever be my own best friend.
Right.
It's good to have best friends outside of myself, but I am my own best friend first, because I believe, or what Spirit told me, is 90% comes from you, 10% other people. And so I follow that in everything that I do.
Yeah.
When it comes to accountability, or just even any experiences I have, 90% need to be about what I did, 10% need to be about what other people did.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if it's like, I resonate with a lot of what you said.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's kind of being on this path or this journey of almost like a calling to, like, whether it's sharing publicly, but like you're doing something to where you're creating something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're birthing something. So that does take a lot of your energy.
Yeah.
But also, like, there is that depth to you. And it's like, you are really the only one who can fully witness yourself, like you in spirit. And there's something really beautiful about that.
Yeah.
And maybe somebody might come along one day who has capacity to, maybe half of it they can take in, which would be still a lot. But you said something in a class a few weeks ago that really messed me up in the best way, that you heard from your guys.
Yeah. My guys just be beating me up, child.
And now they're sharing.
Yeah.
You said you don't have a relationship issue. You have a self-respect issue.
Yeah.
And that was so convicting to me.
Yeah.
In what I was going through at the time.
Yeah. So that one actually hurt when it came through, because I was in that process of trying to figure out the trust issues and trying to figure out how I could be safe with another person when I've been mishandled. In the worst way. And I think anybody that I've ever been in community with, or anybody I've ever been in any relationship with, left that situation impacted, left that situation changed. Because again, like, I've always been this person.
You'll pour into people.
I pour into people so much at my own expense.
Right.
And so I was in this place, and I was just like, no, I just think I have I feel like I don't know what my fucking issue is with relationships. And I sit back and I close my eyes, and I don't see in my head. I feel as seeing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like I know what something looks like, as almost as if it's a memory of something. So I know what the scenery, I know what's happening through the feeling.
Okay.
But then the imagery is created from the feeling, but I don't physically see the imagery. I just understand the story behind the feeling. Yeah. It's like I understand the story behind the feeling. It's like I'm remembering something, not I'm coming into something new. I'm remembering something that I already know or I already seen. Right. Yeah. And so I sit back on the bed and this imagery starts playing. And so I'm sitting on a bed in this imagery and I'm a little nervous. I'm a little anxious. And I hear my partner come in and it's like, I know that I have to tell them something. And I know that this is going to be a hard conversation. Mm-hmm. And so my partner comes in, he sits on the bed and I stand up and I'm like, hey, we need to talk about something. And this is serious. Mm-hmm. And I was like, the only thing or the only space that we have for me and you being able to repair this is if you are honest with me. If you are not honest with me, I will never talk to you again. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, wait, what is it? You know, like he's...
Wait, is this a real story?
No, this is what's happening in the meditation.
Okay.
The vision. And so, well, in the feeling, because it was a feeling. It was
right. It's like, yeah.
Because feelings, because emotions hold stories. Mm-hmm. And when you can still yourself enough, you can feel the story. Yeah. You don't always got to see the story to know what the story is. Yeah. It kind of just comes
I know what you're talking about. I've never tried to put it into words.
Yeah, it's like it's coming through like a stream of consciousness almost, or like a memory. It's like a memory.
To me, it feels like a stream of experience.
Yeah.
In the body. I don't know.
Yeah, and so it's hard to put into words because we don't have the spiritual language for it because spirit is just too infinite for us to be able to define with our little feeble minds. Mm-hmm. But he's like, okay, what is it? And I tell him, and it's a cheating situation. Mm-hmm. And that's all I know. I don't know what it was about. It was just a cheating situation because it's almost like it's skipping parts, but I know what happens in between, right? Yeah. And so I tell him, and he's honest with me. And I lean down and I give him a kiss. After he's honest, and I was like, thank you. And then I start packing my bags. And he was like, wait, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, well, that's not something that I can actually tolerate. And he was like, well, you told me if I tell you the truth, then nothing bad would happen. And I said, that's not what I said. I said, if you tell me the truth, that is the only thing that keeps us in community with each other. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not mad at you. I think that people should do whatever is best for them. Mm-hmm. And I think I've always felt like that. Even when the betrayal happened in real life, I just was like, I don't care that you chose that. I think everybody's looking for the same thing. If that's where it is for you, that's where it is. But don't mishandle me in the process of you figuring that out. You know, that was kind of like what I was saying to him. And so he's like having a panic attack. And I'm like, I was packing, but then all of a sudden I start hearing this clicking, like almost like clicking of heels walking towards the door. So I know that I'm leaving the situation. And as soon as that feeling swipes, because it's almost like it drops out of nowhere. It drops out of your awareness. Mm-hmm. This voice comes through, which I think it was Lilith. But this voice comes through and she says, you don't have a relationship problem. You have a self-respect problem. If you have self-respect, you no longer have a problem. Mm-hmm. Mm. And so I was like, damn, you could have held my hand for that one. But it was like, you don't have a relationship issue. You have a self-respect problem. Yeah. You know, you stayed too long. And so I sat up and I was like, damn, that kind of sucks to hear. But you're not wrong, sister. Yeah. You're not wrong. Yeah. It was me the entire time. No one could ever pull anything over me because I am a unmovable force. Yeah. I've always been an unmovable force. I do what I want to do. And I've always been like that. Yeah. You know, I always take up space when it's time for me to take up space. All of the things. And so I chose this. I chose to stand in place with you when I should have kept moving. Yeah. You know, and I think that happens a lot with women is that we choose to stand in place because someone tells us the potential of something. Yeah. But we have to realize that potential and the awareness of something is not reality. Potential is just the spiritual part of you coming online.
I heard that part too.
Yeah. It's just the spiritual part of you coming online. Yeah. But I think when you're making the decision, you have to make the decision from earth energy. Yeah. Which is reality. Yeah. Because you don't know that person is ever going to step into that potential. And I think so many women have multidimensional sight because we are the bridge between the spirit and between matter. Yeah. And so we can see multidimensionally, meaning that we can see straight through to who you are, who you were coded to be.
Right. We see who you're created to be.
We see your blueprint. However, comma, it does not mean
doesn't translate into reality.
That is who you are right now. We're seeing you in spirit. We are not seeing you in the physical reality. And that causes pain and suffering for us, because then we'll hang on to that potential. We'll deprioritize our ability to experience joy now on the hope that eventually you will step into the person that you said that you were. And then you end up in a 10-year fucking relationship and you have nothing.
Yeah.
And now you've been also robbed of your essence, because it comes at a cost for you to stand in place when you're supposed to be evolving.
Yeah, that leaking of energy.
Yeah, the leaking of energy, and all of a sudden you're completely gray, and
especially
you're depleted.
When you're creating something.
Yeah,
and you're sharing yourself with the world. Like, you have to have that in house.
Yeah, and you're creating a reality, I think, that is prioritized around someone else, and so it's their energy taking up most of the space in the reality that y'all have created, and you are required to shrink because that's what you decided to do when you decided to stand in place with them.
Yeah, that you put all of that in that class for a little 5 minutes. Yeah. That really helped me in a situation that I was keeping myself stuck in.
Yeah.
And I knew it, but the way that you said it, that they told you and you shared with us, I was like, it was just undeniable. It was like, you're literally doing this to yourself. Yeah. You know what you're holding yourself back and the kind of life that you're creating.
Yep.
And Spirit had told me a year prior to that, more than that, to stop accepting less than I deserve. And I was like, no, I'm not done playing.
Yeah.
It was like a situation.
And I think it's okay sometimes to do it for the thrill, do it for the plot. But remember that you are doing it for the thrill and you're doing it for the plot.
Yeah.
I think where we get the lines crossed is we start developing feelings in the process of doing it for the thrill, doing it for the plot. We came here to experience pleasure.
Yeah.
We came here to experience joy. I don't think we should rob ourselves of any part of the experience except for when it comes to killing babies.
Right.
Don't do that. When it comes to when you start to infringe on somebody else's journey, that's when it's a no.
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody else's autonomy, that's when it's a no.
Yeah.
That's when it's a no. But everything else, you're allowed to play, you're allowed to experience, but you got to remember and keep your eyes on the damn prize and realize that this ain't forever. This ain't a forever thing. This is a temporary
and it wasn't,
realignment.
But being somebody who I did a fast in December and then again in January and then March. And so I was, my theme was presence.
Yeah.
And I was very embodied, very present. And so I stopped talking to this person in December and then I started again in February. Mm-hmm. And when I got back into it, it was, to be fair, it was like a casual setup arrangement from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got back, I saw him again, I felt the feelings because the presence, you know what I mean?
No, I'm telling you, it's as if it never left.
And, on top of that, I don't know, you probably know more about this than I do, but my human design, my 3 bottom ones are open.
Yeah.
And the top ones are colored in.
Yeah.
And his was completely opposite.
Oh, yeah.
So it was
wait, is this one the spleen? The one that's off to?
No, it was the sacral.
The root?
The root. The bottom triangle one.
Which one is it, though? Is it the one on this side or that side?
I think my spleen is colored.
So then it would be your emotional solar plexus.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that means you prioritize you amplify his desires, you amplify his rhythm, you amplify his emotional landscape.
Okay, so I told this story before.
Just hijacks all your good stuff.
So we met on a dating app and we met for the purpose of just being a casual connection.
Yeah.
So that's all we did.
Oh, you got to give me more. You got to give me the tea on that. I don't know.
It was
great. Period. Okay.
It was so
we love
wonderful.
that.
And even to the point to where when we started, just more time went on, I was like, I feel like our friendship is ruining our sex life.
Yeah.
This is great. But okay, so we meet and we're having sex.
Yeah.
And as we're having sex, I'm thinking this is the best sex I've ever had in my whole life.
That'll do it, girl.
The technique,
it'll do it every time.
The technique on its own was great, but the energetic, the chemistry
skilled
there.
Player, we like that.
Oh my god, I had to. So I just met this man.
Yeah.
I had to literally hold back my mouth from saying the words "I love you."
Oh.
I was like, I don't even know this man, and like, and it wasn't the physical pleasure; it was the energetic whatever was going on there. And to me, the only thing I could explain to it was like the human design thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, that.
Well, your sacral being open, if he is a generator, which it sounds like what you're saying, that's the center where sex is. Mm-hmm. And that feels really fucking good moving through your body because he feels it like this. You feel it like that.
Oh my God.
It's very, very intense. Yeah. And it's like you have unlimited access to what that, and if y'all are mutually having fun, mm-hmm. then you have the emotional energy now that's flooding in as well.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I just was like, I don't know what this is, but I know that this is a gift and I'm going to enjoy it while I get to have it. And you know, I'm somebody that I pour out, even in casual connection. Like I love to take care of people.
Me too.
And I think it just became too much. I don't know what happened, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. But long story short.
His loss.
Thank you. Long story short, I had to take a step back and be like, I have to have enough self-respect to walk away from something that I adore.
Yeah.
Like,
because I think sometimes we'll try to chase after and we try to convince it that we're worthy of the thing, baby. If they don't see it, they don't see it.
Right.
And I think that sometimes we think that if they don't see it, something is wrong with us. And it's like, no, their vision is obscured.
There's like a lack of capacity there.
Yeah. In their vision. It's like you standing on top of a refrigerator and they 4'11". You know, like they just can't see you up there.
You're literally out of sight.
Literally. Or like you got tunnel vision and you over here in the peripheral and they only see the part of you that's a part of the tunnel that they looking through.
Yeah.
But if they panorama, that's all of you, but they ain't panorama.
Yeah.
They narrowed, you know? And so I think that that's not a bad
It was a great experience.
Because I think that you needed that for you to see like, okay, even this I can walk away from.
Exactly.
That's strength.
I'm like, it had to be this good for me to say, even in the midst of how much I love this and I love this mm-hmm. man. And I have to have enough self-respect within myself to say, I love you, but I need to walk away because you're not valuing me. Even in a casual connection.
I resonate with that because that was my experience with the betrayal that I'm talking about. And me and him, I've had dreams and he's had dreams. We've had dreams. Dreams mm-hmm. have been had of past lives. And I think mm-hmm. I kind of been stuck to him for about a couple of lives.
Yeah.
But he's the first person I feel like who saw me, like actually, and took an interest in me because I think that men like the idea and the aesthetic of me because I think men always perceive me underneath this innocence energy, which is sir, if only you knew. But and I think they also kind of like perceive me to be unattainable because I will say no before I say yes mm-hmm. about a lot of things, you know. And so when he came in, it was at the worst possible time ever. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like I was just getting out of a situation with someone else. Like literally the day before I figured out that he was lying to me about something, I hung out with this guy after he had asked me over and over again. And I just was like spinning him. Like I'm on my way and rebound. Never show up. Yeah. And so it's just like, I was just like, I'm not interested like that, mm-hmm. you know? But then he just kept showing up. He just wouldn't allow me to not, you know, to dismiss him. He just wouldn't allow me to dismiss him. And there was absolutely chemistry there. I think the first time that me and him kissed, I felt like I had kissed him my whole entire life. Mm-hmm. And so that was hard. And the first time we had sex, it was the same thing. It was like, I didn't even know that was in me. You know, I didn't even know. It's just like I was a different person, you know? And so he even said this, he said the same thing too. And, we dated for like 3.5 years on and off. It was very up and down. It was very tumultuous. Mm-hmm. He had a situation with someone back home, which when that came to my awareness at the time, they were not dealing with each other. And so, I don't know when they started dealing with each other because the man just, he was not letting me go. So the lies was there. Mm-hmm. I knew they were lies though. And I believed the lies. And so, he got engaged. He got engaged on me after spending 3 months with me, which devastated me. I don't think I had ever felt grief in that capacity until that happened. And grief is hollow.
Yeah.
You know when it's grief because it's hollow. It's almost like you could throw a penny down a hallway and you could hear the echo.
Oof, yeah.
You know, it has a way of pulling you fully into the present moment. You can feel every second, every minute, every hour just ticking away. And that was it.
Yeah.
And I found out a day later too. So everybody was like reaching out to me like, oh my gosh, Taja, I hope that you're doing well. And it's like,
oh, everybody knew
everybody was reaching out to me. Yeah. Cause it was like Labor Day. And so like everybody was like,
it was a public.
Yeah, it was a public thing. And so people from college started reaching out to me because I mean, that's the person I dated in college. And so people started reaching out to me like, hey, I hope you're okay. And, and I'm just thinking like, oh my gosh, it's Labor Day. Everybody's thinking about me. Oh my God, hey guys. Oh my God, I haven't talked to you in so long. How are you? You know, and it wasn't until the next day that I found out why they were reaching out to me. And then I was devastated.
Yeah, that kind of betrayal is like...
And he just disappeared. Like literally, it was only like a matter of like 2 weeks or something like that. Well, no, I'll probably say like maybe a month. And it's like I knew we weren't there, you know, because we had a conversation. He just didn't tell me the whole truth.
Yeah.
You know, and that shattered me. And so I was like, I remember he was like, I'm going to come to Indianapolis. Like literally the day after I'm just going to come to Indianapolis and we can talk about it. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to knock your head off your shoulders if I see you. So stay where you are.
Yeah.
I promise you, I will probably be in jail by tomorrow. Like stay where you are because it's that serious. And, I was driving down the street and I saw him everywhere because he came and spent 3 months with me before that happened. Oof. And so I saw him everywhere.
I know what that feels like.
And within a month, I moved to Orlando.
Yeah.
I ran. I ain't gonna lie. Listen, I put them shoes on. I got the fuck up. That's what I felt like I needed to do at the moment because I could not stomach it. Yeah. And I remember the next day after I found out, I would like spent the whole night crying on the bathroom floor. And it's like I couldn't peel myself to get up. And he was like texting me. And it's just like I didn't care what he had to say anymore.
Didn't matter.
It was over for me. Like that was done. And I went to work the next morning and I thought I looked okay. Like I thought I had pulled it together.
Makeup.
I just was, you know. And so I had a shift at like 8 a.m. And I had this great guy. I forgot what his damn name was. He don't even know what he did for me that day though. But he walked up to me and he looked at me and he said, hey. And I like looked over to him and he said, I think you need to go home. And I was like, what? And he was like, I'll take care of your team, but you go handle whatever that is. Mm-hmm. And I started crying and I just got up and I walked out. And I remember I had held it together for a long time after that. Like since I had woke up, I had held it together. Yeah. And I don't know why I had this random ass thought that I was just going to be able to bounce back and go about my day and my life. But I was on the highway and all of a sudden I just started crying. And it was like I could not see through my tears. Mm. And I'm like driving around this bend. And so I pull over on the shoulder of this bend and it's like, you cannot park there. That's not where you can park. But I had no choice because I could not make it further than that point. And I remember I had not told anybody in my family. I hadn't told anybody. And I called my auntie. She was going through a similar situation as me at the time. And me and my auntie were bonding over, you know, our similar shitty ass men. And I called her and I couldn't get a word out. Like, it's just like I literally was like hyperventilating. And then I ended up going to visit a friend in Orlando. I went back home. 2 weeks later, I moved to Orlando. And that was the first moment I could rest because when I was at home, I tried to stay there, but everybody kept looking at me with these fucking sad eyes. I remember that feeling. And like coming up to, it's almost like somebody died. Yeah. And like
the sympathy or something?
Coming up to me. And so there was this guy God said, hold my motherfucking bag. I got something for y'all. Like, this man is fine. Mm. And he's probably like, when I think of like what the epitome of a fine man is, he is like everything. And so like I'm scrolling one day on my Instagram And he, like, we're following each other. And I'm like, where the fuck did this? I'm so in this man's face. I didn't even see that this man, And so I scrolled through and I click on his page. I said, wait a second. I click on his page, and one of my really, really close friends is the only friend we have in common. And so I call her on the phone, who she's like literally my neighbor. She lives across the way. And I was like, who is this? She tells me, and she's like, come over to my house. I come over to her house. He's there. And so I'm like, okay, this was fast. But he was kind of interested. I was interested. I was like, okay, maybe there is hope. So we end up going to dinner, and
this is the same day.
This is like no, I would probably say this is probably like a couple weeks, because I was in Indianapolis for a month after that, and before I moved. And so it was kind of like towards the end of this month, right before I decided that I was moving. And not right before I decided I was moving. I was still doing my 2-week period that is needed so I can get a referral, for the job. And I knew I was moving, but it was just like, oh, like, let's just see what this is about, because I got to come home. I live here. My family's here. I got to come home. And something happened where my friend posted a picture of us, and then like somebody he was dealing with responded to the picture, and I said, yeah, no, I ain't doing it. Like, it was just too fresh of I don't got time for this. And so I just kind of like cut it off. And me and him like became reacquainted years later, and he was like, yeah, the only thing I really knew about you was that this happened, and it was that situation.
He knew about it?
Yeah. And then, oh my gosh, that like rocked me too. And it was like right when I had just moved back home, because I was in Orlando for like 3 years. I moved back home. Me and him like kind of rekindled a little bit, and he brought that up, and I was just like, oh, I'm never going to be able to touch you. Yeah. Because you're looking at me with those sad fucking eyes. Like, oh my God, it just like re-triggered me. And I didn't realize that I didn't deal with it. I just was distracting myself. Yeah. So yeah, that was tough. That was really, really tough, because I felt embarrassed. I felt
for it to be
humiliated.
So
yeah. And because we spent like 3 months together, I'm around your friends. I'm around, like that was just, you didn't have to do that.
Right.
Like, because before then we didn't talk for like 6 months. And so you could have just stayed gone.
Yeah.
But I think he was having his own battle too, because I think that he was struggling to figure out who he wanted to be with, and he always told me like I was too ambitious, whatever men say, because they want to deal with their own inadequacy. But after, though, he texted me like a year after they got engaged and was saying that he thought that he was making the wrong decision. And I was like,
you're like, duh.
No, you should marry her, because if you don't, I'm going to bury you next to each other, since you guys want to be together so fucking bad. Like,
you're like, I'm sorry, this is no longer an option.
This is actually happening, or we're going to have an even more serious problem, but I feel like he kind of like chased after me for a long time. And then,
did that feel good to have him come back and be like,
no,
okay,
no. I wanted him to go away forever. Okay. And I think that I was still kind of like, it's so weird, because like, I remember one day I had a dream about him. He texted me the next day and was like, do you be dreaming about me? And I said, no. I said, if I ever dreamed about you, I would be knocking your head off your shoulders. That's what I said. But the truth was that I was dreaming about him.
He was pulling on your energy.
And he was pulling on my energy. And so, that's somebody I would probably always love, because he made me feel seen. And like anything that I would have been shamed about, I did not have to worry about that with him, because I feel like he just was not that type of person. And like if I felt some type of way, I could say it to him, and he would recognize, oh, this is really bothering her, and he would shift, and I think he was a person who actually likes women. Some men don't actually like women.
What you mean.
He actually likes women. Yeah. Like likes to be in community with them, likes to have conversations with them, likes to experience them, and so
not always translates to respects women, but
but
likes them.
And I think he also was patient, and I needed that at that time, because I felt like my first experience was coercion. I basically was presented with an ultimatum. You're childish. I'm a man. I have needs. And I kind of gave into that. And I was 19 or whatever. And I was just my first encounter. Gotcha. And so he was the second guy I'd ever been with. Jumped me off the porch. I ain't been the same since. But he was the second guy that I ever been with. And he was patient. He waited like almost a year. Like it never pressured me. Never any of it. But I felt like he also is very secure in himself.
Yeah.
Which I think is the difference, is like he didn't need that. He just actually enjoyed my presence as a person, so yeah, but I think that betrayal took me 11 years to navigate because I wouldn't look at it, and I didn't start looking at it into these last 4 years. And so the reason why I'm telling you this is because you talked about going back.
Yeah.
I had moments where we were having conversations and we were, on that. And I am proud of myself for not going through with that.
Like you didn't see him again.
I did not see him again. Yeah. After the moment that I found out I never let him touch me again. I only see him one time since then.
Yeah. Was it the anger that gave you that like determination to like never again type thing? Like, did you ever want to?
It was the realization. Yeah. We had conversations about it. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
And their situation is open. And so it was like a possibility of this could actually happen if this is what you want.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that made it clear to me is like in some of our conversations that we were having, I realized that, I've changed.
Yeah.
And not only that, this person is not different. I think he was starting to change, though. I could see that he was starting to change.
Yeah.
But it wasn't enough change for me to be like, this is something I'm going to enter back into, you know, especially something that broke me in the way that broke me.
Yeah.
Like that, I was not the same person.
Yeah.
And I think we have those events sometimes where it's just, you are not the same person afterwards. You can't be the same person afterwards.
Absolutely.
And I hated how I treated people after that because it was just like my way or the highway.
Yeah.
Even in situations, I could like you, I don't care. If that's not my size, it's not going over here. It's not coming over here.
Yeah.
So I was just very like, no, play with your mama. I have an asthma attack right here. I'm going to fall out right here. And I was just vocal about it. I just I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're going to treat women poorly, I'm going to treat you poorly. And it just was like, it was like that for a while. And I think I did things in the situation that came after that I would have not have normally done. Mm-hmm. But for the version of me that was destroyed, who gave everything and who went through that experience, I will be fucking damned if you get away with that shit again.
Right.
Some shit, I need that. You crossed a huge line, a huge violation, and I'm okay with being that person. Sometimes I would choose to be the karma.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that because I'm not a love and light girly. I think toxic positivity is a thing. Yeah. And it keeps you from being present where you are. I think you're allowed to be all the versions of yourself. Yeah. You just don't want one to hijack the space from everybody else. You don't want one to monopolize the space,
I think it feels like whatever we're in right now collectively requires for women to rise up in their own self-respect and stand in their boundaries to be able to call men out of their own bullshit. Yeah, so they're
they're going through a karmic cycle. Yeah. Men are going through their own karmic cycle right now because women have been going through that for like the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And so
I heard it's like 2 or 3 years long. Their
karmic cycle. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know the time.
I've heard women be like, "I'm just gonna not date for the next couple years."
Yeah, I don't know the time frame for them. Mm-hmm. Just because I think that's insight you got to get from being over there. Yeah. And I also think that we delay the process by how resistant to change we are. They have a whole entire system put in place so that they don't have to evolve. Yeah. The very fact that they're going to have to evolve, that comes with all of the chaos that we're experiencing right now.
The patriarchy?
Yeah, the privilege, And so I think a lot of them are being called up. I'm actually starting to see a lot more men speak up spiritually who haven't been. A lot of the anime, the nerdy guy, I love y'all. Hey, y'all. Or even just like men who are into astrology, like straight heterosexual men are starting to hold other men accountable. Yeah. And I've been seeing that. And I'm
like in real life or like
in
online?
Real life. Well, online.
Okay.
But also in real life.
I see them online, like they come through because the algorithm, spirituality and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, so like they exist somewhere.
But sometimes I can't trust whether or not you're performing. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
So I got to watch for a second. But I have been seeing a lot more men coming forward and calling it out. I think a lot more older men for sure. But yeah, I think they're being forced to evolve because women are saying no.
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing, us learning self-respect, Yeah. But I kind of resonated with what you were saying within your relationship, that going back and like, knowing this is not good for you, experiencing shame because of that situation. And I almost felt like if I went through with that situation, I was betraying younger me, and she had been through enough.
Yeah.
And that's what made me say no.
Good for you.
Even though I wanted it with my whole body.
Oh my God.
I wanted that with my whole being.
Yeah.
But because I really thought that was my person, like I really felt like that. And I think that I didn't realize for 10 years I had been standing in place.
Yeah. And I think that's the part where you were talking about, like, as women especially, we can see through the core essence of like who somebody is. And it's so hard because you feel it, especially in sex. Like you feel the energy.
And I think too that like he held himself accountable, but he didn't want to stay accountable. Meaning, like I said, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times you want to say sorry. I don't know how many times you want to hold this over my head. And I'm just like, I'm not holding anything over your head.
Yeah.
But this is the truth.
You broke this.
This is a truth. This was broken by you, and you don't actually want to do the work to fix it. You still want to benefit from me.
Right.
You want me to shift and shrink again.
Yeah. No,
and
sir.
You are not worth that.
No, exactly.
To me. And I would never. I didn't the first time. He actually said to me that he thought that I was going to stay until he figured it out. And I said, who the fuck did you think you was dating? But that also made me realize that I had not been visible enough in that relationship, because anybody who know me, that's my friends, knew though I was getting the fuck on.
Yeah.
But you didn't know. Why is that? Because I didn't make myself visible, because I guess I was trying to keep somebody who didn't want to be kept.
Yeah. And you make yourself small in that.
You make yourself small when you do that.
Yeah. I feel like for me that happens in isolation too. Like I don't tell anybody about, like, you know what I mean? And like those situations, you don't tell people about that part.
Yeah. And I feel like people feel shame for that, for being human.
Yeah.
Like, no, why are you feeling
well, it's because like if I told like my sister or a friend about it,
they would shame you.
They'd be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I would say the same thing.
Yeah. And it's like, that could be isolating. That could be alone. That could make you feel really alone in it too. When that's really when you need your community the most. And that's why you have to make sure you're around safe people.
Yeah.
I think if a friend came to me and told me they were navigating that, the way that I look at life is that unconditional love is allowing people to make the choices that are best suited for you. You do not get to decide for other people. It is their experience, and knowing isn't enough. We all have experienced that knowing it is not enough. Sometimes you got to live it, and so I cannot punish you for not being where I am. Right. And so I think I'm able to hold a lot more space for people who are still in progress, still navigating their self-worth.
Yeah.
And I don't judge people when they come to me and tell me the things that they have been through, because it's not my place to judge you. This is your experience. You are allowed to do it the way that you do it. The only thing I can do is give you the truth from my perspective. But what you do with that truth is none of my business. Whether or not you take that is none of my business.
Yeah.
That's how you keep yourself from leaking energy. And so I think we should be a lot more compassionate, because it is really hard, because a lot of us have been conditioned to believe that we have to sacrifice to be in love with someone else. That's literally every single Disney movie, everything we done seen is like sacrifice.
Yeah.
You have to sacrifice. And it's hard to get out of that, because women are the only ones who are willing to sacrifice.
Yeah.
Men don't have to give up anything, I think I just seen like an interview with Jess Hilarious. She's like a comedian or whatever, who was on the Breakfast Club. She got pregnant and she had her baby, and they had like somebody stand in. But when she came back, they kept the stand-in person, and she felt some type of way about that. And I'm just like, people don't understand why she felt some type of way. And my thing is, a man don't have to go through that. That's why she feel that type of way. Yeah. And now you brought somebody else in who was only supposed to be holding her spot. And now you brought that other person in, and you're accommodating and making space for them, but you're not making space for me and accommodating me when I just came out from maternity leave.
Right.
And I feel like
damn,
people don't recognize that women are having a different experience, and there's things that specifically happen to us that do not happen to other people.
Yeah.
Man.
And on top of like just the fact that like pregnancy and like as a woman, you're a portal from the unseen to the seen.
She just literally died.
Right. Like the lack of reverence that this world has for mothers, the process of pregnancy and like raising children is a lot of what's wrong with the world today.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, because it's the demonization of the feminine.
Yeah.
All of it is the demonization of the feminine energy.
Yeah.
I think every single issue we have in this country is womb envy. It's because men are jealous of women because they do not play the part in creation that they would like to play. They want to play the big part in creation.
I felt that a lot,
but they can't.
I had my babies and like the dad, and
it's them not feeling like they're a part of the creation process. But they do. They're more of builder energy. You're creating in the physical world. You're just not bringing souls through, like, you know. But I think that everybody has a function.
Yeah.
And they don't want to play their function. They want to hijack our function.
Yeah.
And that has been the issue the entire time.
I do love being a woman.
Yeah. And it's like it
is great.
Being a woman is such a beautiful experience. I hate that it's frowned upon, you know. But
in my sovereignty and empowered and self-respect era, I love being a woman.
Yeah.
In the self-betrayal part, it was did not feel good.
Yeah, I didn't feel safe being a woman.
Yeah.
I didn't feel safe being a woman.
Yeah.
I didn't feel safe as a kid. I didn't feel safe. But I think I just developed very quickly, and that made me feel unsafe.
Yeah.
And that I went through my own sexual trauma, and I blamed my titties and my ass.
So you were upset with your own body?
I was upset with my own body. Yeah, and I didn't feel safe in my own body, and that causes disembodiment. Thank you for saying that. But yeah, that causes disembodiment. And I think a lot of women don't feel safe being women. Because if all the crime shows, they ain't showing us men getting chopped the fuck up. They showing us getting chopped the fuck up.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the whole crime industry, that's the statistics. Yeah. I think the whole crime doc industry is violence against women.
Yeah.
You know, almost all of it, like the 80% is against us.
Yeah.
And so us being constantly subjected to that, and then in the media as also being a Black woman, and the media seeing us getting killed in the media in real life.
Yeah.
This is after the fact. You just don't feel safe.
There's a chapter in the book, the Earth book.
Yeah.
It's called, I can't remember, but it's about the feminine. And in the book, they basically say that, like, how the creator God is a feminine energy, and how, like, it just makes so much sense. And it's really beautiful. But when I was reading it, I remember I was weeping because I didn't realize that I had felt shame for being a woman because of what was projected onto me of, like, your inadequacy, you're not strong, you're weak, all these things. And when I read that, and I was like, oh my God, like, we're pure fucking magic. And all this stuff. And it's like, I was like, I felt so, like, proud and like, oh my God, like, it was just a really cool experience to see the truth of, like, and that's why I think same thing with, like, Black people, why, like, they're so persecuted and oppressed and hated, because there's just a fear there of the power and the divinity. Same thing with women. You know what I mean? I
agree. Because I think one way that spirit gave it to me, and I think people are probably not going to agree with this, I don't care, is that, like, Black people in this society are like the higher self. White people are like the lower self, because they're when it comes to age of soul, you know, age of soul,
like maturity of the soul. There's something ancient in melanated beings, because melanin is what keeps you tethered to earth. Right.
You know, like, I think that body is created specifically for earth.
Yeah.
You know, whereas, you know, when white people go into the sun, they tend to burn. Because it's the lack of melanin. You know, melanin actually helps to keep you from fragmenting as well. Yeah. And so I think that it is harder to fragment a Black body, a soul in a Black body, because of the melanin.
Yeah.
You know, and so the mind goes blank. What were we saying?
We were talking about, like, the divine feminine, and how it's so attacked.
Yeah. And so but then if you take it to gender, it's women are the higher self, men are the lower self.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and so it actually is different depending on what lens you look through, just like privilege is different based on what lens you look through. And I think that there is a huge fear around the power, the untamed, untrained power of the feminine, because
oh my God,
Feminine energy is vast. It is the infinite, where masculine energy is finite. It has a fixed point, and that's why it's logic and strategy and all of these things, because it's like a finite point. It is what happens when the feminine chooses to fragment. Okay. And so we fragmented into separation, which means we're in a masculine energy, even though we're in a oceanic frequency, we're in a masculine environment, reality. But the way that I see it is like, Spirit keeps giving it to me as the 90% is feminine, the 10% is masculine. And so when I think of source energy, 90% is feminine, 10% is masculine. So it's not that the masculine isn't there. It's just the feminine is what you lead from.
Majority.
Because it is so vast that you can create anything. It is infinite. It does not stop. It continues. It's like darkness. You know, to me, darkness is faster than the speed of light. I think his name was like Unk something said that darkness is faster than the speed of light. The only thing faster than the speed of light is darkness. Because as soon as you turn a light switch off, the darkness is there. It's not, there's not a lag in between that. So that means it is always there. The feminine energy is always there. It encompasses everything. It's always there.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah. And so I asked Spirit, who would Earth be closest to if she was here? And I got a Black woman.
Yeah.
A dark-skinned Black woman, actually.
Yeah.
Because the dark-skinned Black women are the most oppressed people in this country, besides children and animals. Because that's a whole nother conversation. But if we're going to talk people, besides children. And I think that people who don't see that are people who are stuck in their own victimhood. And what I mean by that is they've probably had an experience that they're over identifying with that is keeping them from being able to see outside of themselves. I think that happens with racism too. Yeah. There is an identity that you're holding on to that's keeping you from seeing outside of yourself. Because when we're in a fragmented state, the masculine state, we're finite, we're fixed. Yeah. We don't move.
I feel like people can feel the innate power and just the divinity of Black people,
the intensity,
Black women specifically. Yeah. And they don't know how their insecurities rub up against it. So that fear creates hatred and all kinds of
it's inadequacy.
Reactions. Yeah.
I think the whole racism thing is an inadequacy issue.
Yeah, for sure.
Because everything is a comparison.
But it's like, to me, that's like, okay, well, if your fear and your hatred can be so strong that it does that, like, it makes me look at, what are you afraid of? Like, what's so powerful here? You know what I mean? What's so beautiful? And I don't know.
And I think it's like, I think that it's also the resilience too, because I realize that they're always trying to snuff out the joy, and it's like we keep finding the joy. Every time we get the joy, they just want to snuff it out. Joy is coherence of the nervous system, though, and so now realizing that they're trying to keep you disembodied. And it's hard.
Say that again. Joy is
a byproduct. It's a metabolic state. It's not something you can think your way into. It is what happens as a byproduct of you being in coherence. You know, like you have to be regulated in order for you to experience joy.
So they're constantly trying to dysregulate you.
Yeah. Because if they can disembody you, they can control you. Yeah. You can only be controlled when you don't know who you are and when you're searching for answers. You can only be hijacked when you don't know who you are and you're searching for answers, or you're playing a role like the savior. Yeah. The nurturer, the mother, the this, the that. That's the only time you can really be hijacked, is when you super identified yourself as something.
It's like the biggest act of rebellion that you could do is have your own joy. Yeah. Just be embodied in your own
I think joy is rebellion. Yeah. You know, and especially we don't realize that joy is, it weaves light back through the matrix. And so like it does so much more energetically too. And that's why when people are in a state of joy, they're usually living their best fucking life. Yeah. You know, it's when they stop being able to see the beauty in life that everything gets gray and dull and worse.
I've really gotten to the point to where I feel like my biggest contribution is literally me being at my center in coherence and existing in my joy, whether I'm out in public or I'm doing it from a meditation in my bed. And that alignment within me literally reverberates that energy into the world, into my daughters, who then also amplify that out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's our biggest contribution. I don't know if it's just a woman thing or a human thing, but like,
it's contagious too.
people don't see how much power there is in like you just being grounded and whole within yourself and being able to experience joy or peace and like feel all the feelings. Don't bypass it, but like as much as you can come back here. Yeah. And if everybody
make it your
more
homeostasis.
People could do that. Yeah. Like it would just
because when you anchor into your truth, you impact 17,000 people. You impact your whole generation because we don't realize that we're sound, we're music, we are emitting a tone. And so the universe is kind of like a symphony and everybody playing off key. When somebody gets back on key, it pushes everybody back into where they were supposed to be. Yeah. And so it has a ripple effect across collective consciousness. Yeah. You know, and so it's so much deeper than that. Yeah. It has a ripple effect, you know, and so I think the work is always internal. And what I'm realizing at this stage in my life is that, you know, I used to do stuff for other people. I was trying to reach that person who was on that edge, right? And then when I got out of the savior complex and I realized it wasn't my job, it wasn't my work to carry the weight for everybody, because I've died in multiple lifetimes doing that, being a martyr, you know. Now I realize everything I do is for me. Yeah. It's not for anybody else. Even when I'm saying the messages that I'm saying, I say it for me. Yes. It's for the versions of me that couldn't hear that, you know, and when I could make that little switch, it changed everything, because it's not about whether or not someone can receive or perceive me. I don't have to defend my truth, because my truth deserves space, you know, and it deserves to be honored just like anybody else's truth. And so I'm giving myself visibility because we came here to be witnessed. We came here to evolve and grow together. And so a lot of times we try to just do it all alone. And so when I'm posting because I deserve to be visible, you know, and I deserve to be witnessed as being this version of me, because through that I impact other people. And so like my posts are not even about other people anymore. They're about me and what I need to hear, because every message I say is for me too. And it's the truth from my perspective. You just get to benefit from it. Yeah. You know? I
love that so much. I resonate with that a lot. That's my style. Yeah. And I actually did a video exactly on this other day, because I was like, I know there's people who do videos and they teach and it's like, you're here to learn. I love those videos. I watch those videos. That's not my style. I just tell a story. I just hit record. Yeah. And it's like there. And I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. There's a vision that I can slightly see, and I'm just going. When spirit says go, when spirit says speak, I go. I speak. You know what I mean? But it's for me first. And I was like, I do these because I hold space for myself to tell my own truth and speak my own story.
And I think it takes all the pressure away too. Yeah. Because we put so much pressure on ourselves to be the one who breaks the curses, to be the one who's chosen, to be the one who's whatever. It's just like, you don't have to prove that. That's us trying to prove it through what we know, that us trying to prove it through what we hold, you know? And I'm realizing that I don't need to, the truth really does need no proof. And I don't think I've really understood that until recently. Yeah. I don't need to defend the truth. The truth can be felt. Yeah. It's not something you're going to be able to get away from. Even if you disagree with it, it's going to haunt you. You know, and so I'm a gardener. I plant the seeds. You going to have to grow it. You know, what you do with that truth is none of my business. Yeah. It's only my job to be visible in my truth.
And that's really the only job we can do. Yeah. Even if
because that's how you live fully alive. Yeah. You know, visibility plays a huge part. And I think a lot of us want to connect to the wealth frequency, but the wealth frequency is abundance. And abundance requires self-worth, self-respect, trust, receptivity, and a structure to move through. Yeah. Which is how you show up for yourself every single day, your devotion to your truth and yourself. It needs to be able to move through that, but it needs all of those things. If you don't have one, you're not going to be able to amass. You're not going to be able to experience abundance out of the side you want to experience abundance in, because you're going to get abundance regardless, based on where you focus your attention. Yeah. But if you want the full abundance in the way that they show us, the abundance that comes with the success and all of that, you know, you need all of those parts. And then when you have all of those parts, you need to be visible as that. Yeah. Visibility is a huge part in self-worth. Yeah. Because the only reason why we shrink and we're not visible is because it feels dangerous to us. We feel like somebody's going to judge us or reject us or make us feel unseen or unheard or whatever. Yeah. Self-worth issue. But it's all a part of a constellation of energies that need to come together that reconnect you back to source. And if you're reconnected to source, you don't need to fight other people for energy.
Yeah.
You don't need to manipulate. That's what fighting other people for energy, manipulating, lying, deceiving. You don't need to do any of that to get
energy.
Yes, you don't need to siphon. You literally have a well.
Yeah.
You know?
You said also connecting to the earth.
Yeah. Yeah. And so to me, it's seeing the beauty in life and self-love.
Yeah.
Those two things are so important. If you can't see the beauty in your experience, you cannot see the beauty in yourself, because you are earth in motion. There's no separation between you and earth.
Yeah.
If you cannot see the beauty in the experience that you have and in the reality that you created as the creator through the choices that you have made, and that's hard to hear, through the choices that every single choice that opens up timelines.
Yeah.
You know, every choice matters, and that's why you got to be intentional. You can't just be blindly moving through life. You got to make sure your belief systems, you're moving based on your belief system, and your belief systems haven't been programmed into you. You know, but you are earth in motion. You are the incarnation, the embodiment of earth moving. You are what happens when earth decides to move.
Yeah.
Okay. Earth is abundant. You are inherently abundant. Okay. But earth is directly connected to your worth. Earth wants to hold whatever it is that you have, whatever it is you want to express and create your truth. Earth will hold your truth, but you will only share your truth according to how worthy you think you are of doing that. And I think a lot of times, or what my experience was, is that I felt like the pain that I've been through qualified me for it. And so I kept repeating the stories, kept telling the things, and kept, because I feel like it made me qualified and believable, worthy of being believed.
Yeah.
You know, and I had to release that shit and realize, no, girl, your truth is your truth. It needs no proof.
Yeah.
You are allowed to say your truth. You're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to be visible in your truth.
Yeah.
That is what we came here to do. Don't let nobody rob you of that experience. If they don't agree, it's not your job to regulate their emotions before you figure out what you're about to say. It's not your job to control
you don't have to
the impact. Yeah, because we're just trying to regulate somebody else's emotions because we're used to doing that, because we probably had to do that with our parents, you know. Or you're trying to control your impact. You cannot control how somebody receives, because they're always going to be looking through the lens based off of their experiences.
Yeah.
That is not your job. Your job is to stand in your truth. Regardless, you do not collapse, because that's abandoning. When you abandon your truth, you abandon yourself.
Yeah.
And we do that in relationships. We do that in community. We do that with our kids. We do that with so many.
I love how you
different things
talked about how your body belongs to the earth. When you said that, it really put things into perspective, because I was like, damn,
it is earth.
Because you leave here. Your body stays here.
Yeah.
Literally, your entire
comes from earth,
life here on earth stays here on earth. You take your spirit wherever it goes. But like, that really put things into perspective when you were especially talking about like abundance. And the other day you were talking about like the water molecules in the air and creating. And I thought that was really cool.
Well, because too, you got to think that if the goal is to disembody you, there's no wonder they're treating earth the way that they're treating earth, because as above, so below, as within, so without, as the soul, so the universe.
Yeah.
Okay. And so if you treat earth like crap, and earth is providing the food that needs to go into your body to nourish your body. Okay. If you can poison earth, you can poison the body. You can poison the bodies of the people who are earth embodied, you know? And so, and they attack your worth. They make you think that your worth is in how much you have. It's in the materialism of it all, when your worth is in who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And you're already the thing. You just need to remember what you chose to be. You need to choose it again. That's it.
And that's what you do.
That's what you do every single day.
That's what you do.
Oh, me. Yeah. Yes. I help with the process of remembrance, because I'm never going to tell you anything new. I'm only going to confirm what you already know. And you will know that it's confirmation, because it'll be undeniable. You feel it in your bones. You get chicken skin, as my friend would say, which are like goosebumps. You know, you get a chill up your spine and up your back. It doesn't leave you, because the truth resonates.
Yeah.
It doesn't leave you. It stays there. It's kind of echoes.
Okay, I wish Polyancian, but I do. You said resonates, and I remember when you did the Lumeria series live on YouTube
about Atlantis
last year. And you talked about how like either responsibilities or things were given to people based on resonance. Yeah, and like I kind of equated it to like the purity of heart.
Like, and so like there was like in Atlantis there was like a crystal like a core crystal or whatever. And everybody has a point in life where they stand in front of this crystal. And they resonate at a specific place, and based on where they resonate or what they were created from. Because what you got to understand is that Earth is always going to try to reach back to wholeness. And so anytime that we fragment, anytime that Earth fragments, she's going to create something to help us to repair. She's going to create a mirror, right? Because we're in the realm of mirrors. She's going to create a mirror, something else to show us like, hey, you need to go back in this direction. Hey, she's always going to try to repair herself. She's always going to try to go back to wholeness, right? And so that means everybody here has a specific function. Just like every key on the keyboard makes a specific note. Same thing. Everybody has a specific function. Everybody has a specific note where they're supposed to be resonating at. And so you used to stand in front of this crystal, and it's like you were birthed based off of what Earth needed. And there was no hierarchy. It was everybody had a place and a function, and everybody was comfortable with their function until they weren't. Until distortion kind of came down. Our water was hijacked because we're 70% water. Earth is 70% water. And water is memory. It's everything. Water is everything. It's very intelligent. And water is the vehicle for your soul. And so your soul exists inside of the water. And so the reason why fear was able to stay in this place, or some of those heavier emotions were able to attach to us, is because we are water. We are very feeling beings. We can feel everything intensely. So
they infiltrated the water.
Yeah. And so Earth started leaking because of the atomic bomb. But actually it's before the atomic bomb, actually, because Lyra is where this all started, and so that's at a very, very high harmonic. It's not a physical place. It is like a bandwidth of energy, right? And so that's where we first descended. We didn't descend fully down to Earth because Earth is like very, very dense, very at the bottom. We're not supposed to be this low, and that's why we have dolphins and orcas, because they're keeping us at a specific frequency so that we don't drop lower than we have, right? And so when everything fractured...
Sorry, you mean an energetic frequency, not like the actual elevation?
Energetic frequency, yeah.
Gotcha.
So we were doing polarity experiments in Lyra. And so we were doing all kind of experiments, not only polarity, and they were happening in different planets. So Venus had their love and compassion and all the things that represent the planets. Those are the experiments that were going on there, right? But in Orion's belt, okay, they were doing polarity experiments, and they were trying to figure out what it would be like if we were separated from source. Okay. Like if we were separated from love, what would happen?
Interesting.
And what happened was war. And so
what did you think was going to happen?
The beings that they were doing this test on came from Orion and attacked the people in Lyra. And they tried to conquer them, and they tried to dominate because they fell into their ego and judgment and separation, all the things that we're experiencing now. And that caused a leak of energy. It created all this huge fear energy, because now we have a bunch of beings who have only known love, who were watching their people get whatever happened, And so because that was at a higher harmonic, it leaks down. It's always going to leak down. If you, dig a hole, if water is coming across, it's going to come down into that hole. Like that's just how it does. And so Lemuria and Atlantis were contingency plans, meaning that they descended. We chose to descend so that we can try to stop it from fragmenting more than what it had already fragmented. And so we already knew that fear and all of that was going to be a big part of this place, but it was just trying to set up grids and things so that when it did trickle down to Earth, that like maybe we could stop the fracturing, as much as we possibly can. Damage. And so they're fixing the top and the bottom at the same time, and so like, how I say your root and your crown are the same, and they were fixing the top and the bottom at the same time. And so Lemuria was all heart, and so they put a heart grid, which really was a Venetian grid. It's a rose grid. They put that in place, but they ended up fracturing and fragmenting, and so then Atlantis was all mind. And that just went far, far into distortion,
right.
And then what we're building right now with this new Earth frequency is we're supposed to be both. We need to be both heart and mind. Yes, the coherence, but to bring this back into coherence. But it's already done because the higher harmonics have already stabilized. And so we are just waiting for it to reach us, and we're part of the timeline that is choosing assistance. We're choosing help, which you have to choose because you have free will.
Help from
from the Pleiadians, from the Arcturians, from the Anunnaki.
Like we sent out a call for help.
Yeah. Well, the atomic bomb was a call for help for sure, but that was one of those moments that it was going to happen regardless. It was part of Earth's evolution. But yeah, like a lot of us are sending out calls for help now. We're just like, hey, we don't care about the fucking aliens. Bring them on. Like, what y'all going? Can y'all help us with this shit? You know? So it's just like, we don't even care. At this point, we've been traumatized too much to care about anything.
Right. Like, it's like it's self-destructing here anyways.
Yeah. And so it's just like, we are on the timeline that is choosing assistance.
Yeah.
You know?
Well.
So that's good.
Is there anything else that you want to say or?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think that was really good.
I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Driving down here and just your energy here and everything.
Yeah, thank you.
This has been great.
Thank you for inviting me. I had so much fun too.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a part 2 one day or split this up into 2. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, you probably could split this up into
or
a
3.
couple parts. Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, Taja Moore. I think I skipped your intro because we got right into it.
Yeah.
So human design, soul doula, teacher,
alchemy healer, all of the things. Healer. Yeah, so I go by Big Taj on all of my platforms, BIGTAJJ on most of them, but TikTok there's an extra J. I do human design readings, which I call oversoul design readings, because I think a lot of times we use astrology and human design as like personality tools when they're really tools of embodiment. And so I do oversoul design readings, and I also do mommy and me oversoul design readings as well to teach you how to energetically parent your kids, which is a beautiful service just because I think sometimes we just energetically are not on the same page, and so it just helps people to get on the same page. I'm also a medium, and so I just started doing something called the Remembrance Pathway. And so the first tier is divination, which is a consultation. I'll walk you through a couple of questions to figure out what your challenges are and things like that. And then I sit with spirit and I do a divination and figure out like what your biggest issues are. If there's spiritual work that I can do for you, I will offer that. If there's not, because sometimes it's part of your karmic, situation. I'll just, let you know that. And then tier 2 is flame lineage reading, which I just kind of like combined all of my service. I found out that they actually work really well together. And so from the first reading, I figure out what lineages you belong to. And in the second reading or second consultation, I figure out the tones and things like that. And then I put together a package for your shadow work that's specific to what your soul's natural language is. And it's very extensive. It's like 10 pages or it might be longer than that because it depends on how much energy you have. And then tier 3 is the oversoul embodiment reading, which is figuring out, now that you understand the spirit side of it, now that you know how to do your shadow work, how does your energy vessel actually structured, which is going to give you your oversoul mission, the character you came here to play. It's going to give you just all of the information that you need to understand about yourself. And it's like a 3-part walkthrough. And in between there, you can have coaching and follow-ups and like things like that. But that's the main service that I'm offering right now. I'm also started offering animal communication because I started being able to communicate with my cat. And then I went to buy crystals and I was able to communicate with this dog. And then one of her friends' dog passed away and he wanted a service. And so she was like, hey, I'll pay you whatever. And I did the service and I was just like, oh, wow. Okay, I can communicate with animals. It's given Dr. Dolittle, period. But yeah, I offer that as well. Cool. But most of my services are around the soul. I think that a lot of times people will come to me for career or for love. And I think there's a lot of psychics and mediums that do that type of work. But I want to focus on how to move you forward, how to get you through that transitional period. And so that divination and consultation, the first one is for people who feel stuck. Yeah. And I think a lot of us feel stuck and just don't know how to move. And so it's that. So yeah.
I would say every penny is worth the investment, and we'll come back like 100-fold.
And what did I tell you the other day? Too.
Oh my God. Yeah. The other day in class, I was like, this is my favorite bill to pay every month. It's like I'm in class like melting at like the information and just
so
the community, like I said, the readings that you did for me were just like priceless. Yeah. And
I want to start a priesthood. I've been thinking about that lately, like getting together a bunch of spiritual women who have done the work, of course, and like building up the women that come after us, you know, like, because I think that we are missing elder wisdom. A lot of times we don't have elders in our family to teach us anymore. And so I think that if we get a community of women together who can teach that, that we should, you know. And so I'm not a priesthood or, you know, that's just the only way to describe it so y'all can understand quickly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm looking into that.
I love that.
Because I just think that we got to bring the wisdom back.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I'm just trying to do my part in doing that. So
thank you. I want to acknowledge you for just like your unwavering integrity to truth and to dismantling distortion.
Thank you.
And to devotion to yourself because of the work that you've done within yourself. So many others can just be guided by like the wisdom and the immense reservoir of knowledge that you can hold. And it makes such a big difference.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like truth is something that's supposed to grow and expand with you. And I've really been trying to allow my truth to grow. And so I'm not really committed to any ideologies, even though I give all these ideologies. To me, they're just theories. You know, like I feel like truth is supposed to grow and expand. It's we don't know all, and we're not going to know all. We only know from the lens that we're at. And so I just allow myself to move with curiosity. Like I let curiosity lead me. In every situation, even if I'm kind of like a hit dog in a situation, even though I'm triggered, I want to ask a question instead of blame or point, you know. And so I think I'm grateful that my integrity has gotten me a long way. And I think that there's certain principles and values that I have that have helped me to stay grounded in myself. And I'm glad that people get to benefit from that. Yeah. That means a lot.
Well, thank you.
No problem, my love. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been given a vision of something to create. Nobody sees this vision. Nobody's gonna see this vision. Nobody's supposed to see this vision. The vision is for you. If you wanted to be portrayed in a better light, you should have chosen different behaviors. It's like there's nothing to stop me. It's fun. I feel free. Like that's just the most delicious way to live my life. Like that communion with God, that presence with God is the gift. It is the thing that you're actually longing for. This is exactly where I want to be in this moment with nobody else but you right now, doing exactly what we're doing. And so I already feel like I'm living my dream life, like I am. Do you trust me? Do you trust me that I got you? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I do trust you. I trust that I see things that God has for me to see and that I can understand those things. It's been so liberating because it's allowed me to really trust myself. And like, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm describing what it was like for me to be able to create something out of nothing. It'll be great. It's going to be wonderful.
What is it? Hello, farewell to you, my friend.
Oh, isn't that the Golden Girls?
For now.
No.
Until we meet again. Out of the Box. It was a millennial thing. But it was a TV show, and they used to I forgot what the little hand motion was.
I vaguely remember it.
But yeah, it was a TV. Out of the Box is what it was called.
This is so fun.
Yes, it was. Thank you, love.
That was like a time vortex.
Yeah, we were just chatting it up, weren't we? Yeah. Well, now you have a lot of content, though.
I do.
You can break it up into episodes if you want to.
I think so.
Oh, let me help you.
Is your body hurt too?